I'm definitely having many doubts about the success of peace through the bombs. It is never happening this way, and it's not a sustainable peace process through threatening and through bombs. Definitely, we can see today, for instance, a few days ago in Lebanon, they bombed south of Beirut just to push their agenda and to push the president of Lebanon to enforce the disarmament of Hezbollah. And it is not going to work this way, definitely. Well, I mean, Donald Trump is probably today a president that is willing to see himself as a peace player, or maybe willing to have a peace distinction, Nobel Prize or something like that. But actually, it requires many efforts. And he's trying to do peace like we do business. And peace is not like doing business. It's probably something a little bit different. It's also based on understanding the others, understanding the needs of some people, including, and probably today, first and foremost, the need of the Palestinian to exist. Because, I mean, we are in front of something that is somehow negating the existence of the Palestinian, and even, of course, negating the existence of Palestinian state. And this very issue is going to destabilize on the long term the Middle East if it's not solved today. Probably he has the power to bring the peace in the region if he succeeds to convince and to curb the will of the Israeli government today, which is the most rightist government we have ever seen in the whole history of Israel, and a government that just did something like a genocide-style treatment to the Palestinians in Gaza. So it's time probably to have a serious deal, not only with Iran, not only with a regional partner, but as well with the Palestinian, and not only with the Palestinian Authority of Mahmoud Abbas, who is not legitimate anymore among the Palestinians, and everybody knows that. So, I mean, today there are some tools on the table, but the question is, does Donald Trump is willing to use this tool? No, I mean, I think the situation is probably very dangerous in some places. The question of the Palestinian issue is dangerous, but also the question of what is happening in Syria is rather dangerous as well. But we are always, as usual in the Middle East, on the verge of having either peace or more danger, or some wars, or local wars, small wars, including in Yemen, as I previously mentioned with the Houthi. And so destabilizing sections of regions of the Middle East is probably something that is less spectacular and more dangerous than a big war between the US and Iran, for instance. So I think we have to pay attention to all these little places, little wars that are on the verge of happening, but maybe not. So, I mean, this is a really sensitive moment in history. I have some doubts that there will be war, actually. Donald Trump has more interest in shaping peace with Iran today. And he's acting as if he was recreating something that he spent the last his last mandate as president to deconstruct. So he's reconstructing something like today a new agreement with Iran, nuclear agreement with Iran. And the moment this agreement will be reached, and today Iranian leadership knows they don't have that much choice, this moment will be a really opening moment for the region if it is happening. Thank you for raising this question, because I mean today the question of the U.S. in Syria is not a mystery. It's just lower in the agenda of the U.S. president today, and but in the meantime, we know, and everybody knows around Donald Trump, that also in Europe, that the more we wait and do nothing, the stronger and the most difficult things are going to be, because population in Syria most of the population are living under the poverty rate. So I mean, people don't have means to survive somehow, and they have great expectations since the moment the new leaders arrived in power. So they are expecting something, and if it is not happening, it is going to be really messy, really problematic as a sort of scenario of fragmentation of Syria. And this scenario is not good for anyone, and probably it is not even favorable for the Kurds in Syria. Okay, so I mean today probably the Kurds in Syria are facing something like a momentum. I would say something like a turning moment in history, and this is why I mean Mazloum Kobane shake the hand of Ahmed al-Shara, because he understood that it's a turning point and everybody needs to make efforts. But it's a general framework, it's a general agreement, and everybody needs to make efforts to put something inside this agreement. And today, we don't know if on one side or the other side, they will be capable of doing these efforts together to build a new Syria with acknowledgement of the legitimate need of the Kurds in Syria. I have doubts that it is going to turn into a war. I don't see neither the Kurds nor the Central Power going to war for that. I mean, I strongly believe that the thing is going to stay put as long as it's possible to reach step by step, probably through goodwill policy, something like a slow motion agreement. A slow motion agreement, it means that it is taking time also for both sides to convince their own actors in their own camps of the share profit to have a sort of agreement. Because on the Kurdish side, of course, we strongly understand the need of a special status in Syria due to their entire history of marginalization in Syria. And today, the Central Power as well have to understand that it's not possible to go back to square one, like in the Assad era. So, I mean, they have to go further. And this is a sort of unknown scenario. Federalism is, sounds ideal by many ways if you look at the diversity of Syrian people on the one hand, considering the Druze as well as some Christian communities, other minorities, including the Shiites, anyway, and of course the Alawite. And the Kurds, of course. But the history of Syria is not a history of federal state. It's not a history of something, let's say, fragmented. It's an old history of course, imposing the creation of Syria. I mean, I'm talking about the French in the 20s. So the shaping of Syria has been decided by the French, not by the Syrians. on the one hand, but still, on the other hand, they did what they had to do, like everyone else on this planet after colonization and mandate. So they succeed more or less to shape something that stick together under the, let's say, Arabism first and Baathist regime second. And unfortunately, all these ideologies did not succeed to integrate everyone, and mainly the Kurds. So this is today a turning point because we need to have an idea of a scenario for that. Probably not. And let's say centralism as the general spirit. Authority of the state, which is different than centralism, authority of the state is necessary because, I mean, we see Israel as well nibbling the territory of Syria in the south and trying to circumvent the Druze in the south, separating the Druze from the central power. So there is a need of sovereignty, act of sovereignty on the one hand, and in the meantime, of a recognition, an acknowledgement of the identities of the minorities. And the ethnic minorities of the Kurds is probably the most important aspect and challenge for the current power today. I have some doubts about the idea that the French may will to do anything bigger than what they used to do in Syria. In Syria, France, contrary to Lebanon, has lost all its credibility, all its legitimacy throughout history. And the distance between the French government and the Syrian government have been going bigger year after year during 50, 60 years. Now today, it's time for a new page in history, in international relation, in, let's say, diplomacy, and this is probably something, I mean, sincerely, I don't see France having a new impressive role in Syria, but probably being a part of other actors, including probably the European Union, and several actors of European Union today are opening their office in Damascus and willing to go further. Yeah, territories are always a matter of clear interest, and territories with resources. You have, with territories, we learn that, and we try to make it clear for our students at university, that territories have two types of resources: the symbolic resources and internal resources. I mean, if you have oil or gas, of course, it's a very good and interesting resources. But if you don't have neither gas nor oil, you still have something like a symbolic resource. So territories are always meaningful for every state. So, I mean, trading territories in exchange of other parts of territories, it's extremely complicated and difficult. And for instance, President Sisi in Egypt sold some islands of the Red Sea, Egyptian islands, to a kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And it generated a sort of a slow but strong distrust among the population in Egypt. So it is not innocent. I mean, territories is meaningful. I hope for the best. Of course, I'm not the only one, because I mean, in Europe, in Western Europe, there is a sense that the Kurds have always been sacrificed throughout history in the 20th century, and probably also recently. I'm just expecting that in the general reshuffling of the cards in the Middle East, I'm expecting that key players like, of course, the US, but also Russia. We did not talk about Russia, but Russia is going to continue to play a significant role, but as well China. is going to play a role, more discreet probably, but more meaningful in terms of financial resource. I hope that they will take into account the fact that if you look at the map of the Middle East, the Kurds are present in the heart of the Middle East. So, I mean, it's like a point of equilibrium. If you disequilibrate them, it is going to disequilibrate most of the countries of the region. Actually, they are pursuing their own interests. The US have, from this point of view, it's a monster, a cold monster. I mean, states are always cold monsters, and the US today is probably at the forefront of this, but China and Russia as well. I mean, no mysteries in this. So the idea and the question is, how do Kurds can highlight their, how meaningful they are, how strong they are, how important they are in the eyes of these three big actors today. And I think they have a game to play. They have cards to play in order to show to these big actors that, I mean, they need to make efforts. Probably they are now understanding in every country that they need to make efforts. We've seen this in Turkey recently, we've seen this in Syria as well, and I think in Iraq it's on the road for now several years. And it is a good track, and I think that the Kurds have learned their history very well, and that they have smelled the wind before the others. And this is why, I mean, I have better expectation today. Thank you very much.